The Israeli government has blocked Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar from entering the country. This from Vox. Deputy Foreign Minister Zipi Hotovli confirmed the Israeli government's decision to deny entry to Representatives Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, impeding them from attending a private trip organized by a Palestinian-led nonprofit to see Israel and the West Bank, where Tlaib has family. Now, this move by the Israeli government stems from Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar's criticisms of the far right-wing Israeli government and their human rights abuses of Palestinians, and also stems from Tlaib and Omar's support of the BDS movement. Now, legally, apparently Israel can do this.
We know for a couple of years now, Israel has had a law that allows it to bar entry to those who support a boycott of Israel. And we know that Representatives Tlaib and Omar do support a boycott of Israel because of Israel's policies towards Palestinians. But if this law was used to bar them from entering, it would certainly be the highest profile use of that law since it was enacted a couple of years ago.
All right. Before I move on, in typical CNN fashion, there was a mixture of truth and misinformation in that clip. So it's not really a boycott of Israel. It's not boycotting Israel as a whole. I mean, clearly, Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar were about to go to Israel, but it's a targeted boycott. So this is straight off the BDS movement .net website. Boycotts involve withdrawing support from Israel's apartheid regime, complicit Israeli sporting, cultural, and academic institutions, and from all Israeli and international companies engaged in violations of Palestinian human rights. So that's the important line there. Engaged in violations of Palestinian human rights. So there's cultural boycotts, like urging musicians not to perform there. There's academic boycotts, encouraging students not to study there. And business boycotts, boycotting companies that are on Israeli settlements on Palestinian land. But back to Tlaib and Omar. This is actually a reversal of Israel's previous decision. So last month, Netanyahu's government indicated that it would let Omar and Tlaib in. Israeli Ambassador Ron Dermer said at the time that Israel wouldn't deny them a visit, quote, out of respect for the U.S. Congress and the great alliance between Israel and America. So what happened? Trump happened. So he tweeted out shortly before this. I mean, he was already encouraging this ban, but shortly before the official announcement, Trump tweeted this out. It would show great weakness if Israel allowed Representatives Omar and Tlaib to visit. They hate Israel and all Jewish people, and there is nothing that can be said or done to change their minds. Minnesota and Michigan will have a hard time putting them back in office. They are a disgrace. Obviously, that tweet is full of lies. The BDS movement has nothing to do with Jewish people. It's about the right-wing Israeli government and the government's treatment of Palestinians. But Trump lies all the time. So what else is new? But yeah, on this point, pressure from Trump is the obvious qualifier here. So as Alex Ward of Vox writes, Trump withdrew the U.S. from the Iran nuclear deal, recognized Jerusalem and Israel's capital, and recognized the Golan Heights as sovereign Israeli territory. All things Netanyahu wanted for a long time. Staying on Trump's good side, then, may be worth the cost of temporarily angering Democrats. Now, on top of that, Netanyahu also has an upcoming contested election to deal with and likely doesn't want to upset his far right-wing base. So this also, I guess, may help him in that election, or at least prevent him from being attacked on this issue in that election. But look, my take on this, as I'm going to show you some evidence of in a second, this is a horrible move for Israel's right-wing government. This is not going to help their case. This makes it a lot easier for Democratic politicians to now criticize Israel if they haven't before. So to give you a few examples here, first one up here, Elizabeth Warren, who hasn't had a fantastic record on foreign policy, has sort of been wishy-washy on Israel-Palestine, tweeted this out. Israel doesn't advance its case as a tolerant democracy or unwavering U.S. ally by barring elected members of Congress from visiting because of their political views. This would be a shameful, unprecedented move. I urge Israel's government to allow Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib entry. But it gets even crazier. I mean, the amount of organizations and people that are against this, I think, will surprise you. So even House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, who has been openly critical of AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, even Steny Hoyer and Chuck Schumer are against this. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer says the decision to deny Omar and Tlaib entry into Israel is outrageous, regardless of their itinerary or their views, and that this action is contrary to the statement and assurances to me by Israel's ambassador to the U.S. Schumer, who considers himself an Israel hawk, criticizes move to bar Omar and Tlaib entry into the country. Quote, denying entry to members of the U.S. Congress is a sign of weakness, not strength. It will only hurt the U.S.-Israeli relationship and support Israel in America. But the criticism doesn't end there. Even AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, the right-wing group that has criticized or that has been criticized for turning a blind eye to the right-wing Israeli government's human rights abuses and has been the focus of a lot of the criticism from Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. Even AIPAC disagrees with this move. So they tweeted out, we disagree with Representatives Omar and Tlaib's support for the anti-Israel and anti-peace BDS movement, along with Tlaib's calls for a one-state solution. We also believe every member of Congress should be able to visit and experience our democratic ally, Israel, firsthand. So, as I said, this move will not play well for Israel, and it opens up the potential here for greater criticisms of the far right-wing Israeli government and their human rights abuses of Palestinians. Now, before I end this video, I want to give some real credit here to the people that have supported Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar all along. So just a few examples here. I mean, there are many, but a few examples here, including Jewish American Bernie Sanders, who tweeted out, banning Congresswoman Omar and Tlaib from entering Israel and Palestine is a sign of enormous disrespect to these elected leaders to the United States Congress and to the principles of democracy. The Israeli government should reverse this decision and allow them in. And this from Israeli-American journalist Marev Zanjian. This is not just an attack on Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, but on the entire Democratic Party and on Jewish people. This is the ultimate weaponization of the false accusation of anti-Semitism. American Jews must speak out. And this from Jewish American journalist Peter Beinart. Can we talk about giving the Israeli government almost $4 billion in unconditional military aid now? So those are just a few examples of the many people that are coming to the defense of Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. This will not play well for the right-wing Israeli government, and anybody in support of this is clearly against free speech.